Hey, Vito here, and today we are going to talk about a question I get all the time. How do you build your dream income in the fitness industry? I'm not talking about little income. I'm talking about the kind of income that sets your life free, that lets you go out there and invest in your business, lets you invest in your lifestyle, have the vacations that you want, have the ability to support your kids' dreams the way you want. You're never gonna have to say no to them. You're never gonna have to say, not this time, not this year. You're gonna be able to just sit there and be like, I can give you the ability to go out and live your dreams, the ability to go out there and make sure that your financial future is taken care of. That you don't have to have the stress in your marriage, in your relationships, in your families, because you've planned well. And you've started to grow your business in a way that lets you have what we like to call that fitnesspreneur's life, where you can launch any business you want, any income you want, and any lifestyle you want. We gotta have a formula for that though. It comes down to simple four simple steps that get you the ability to build your dream income. Step number one is you gotta dream big. You gotta dream big. The thing that I see holds so many people back from going out there and creating a truly big lifestyle, and I'm not talking a lifestyle where you're out there trying to be like, I wanna line up Maseratis and I wanna have the money flying off my hands. Not that kind. If that's what you want, cool, rock that out. That's often not the kind of people we surround ourselves with. We're surrounded by more of those fitness professionals that are trying to create a legacy, create something of meaning and significance and purpose, but be able to scale that in big ways so that they go out there and create as much impact as they possibly can, while justifiably being rewarded for that by having a great income and a great lifestyle. Because when you're out there as a thought leader and a change agent, your business and your life require big investment in them and justifiably that reward. But I've seen so many people never believe that, like, oh, I mean, just Fit Pros, we don't do it for the money. We just do it because we want to help people. Yes, we do. And it's also okay to do it for the money because you can't scale your message without it. But so many just don't think like, what do you mean you can make 50, 60, 100,000, $200,000 a month in fitness industry? Yeah, you can if you want. If you want to dream that big. Some people want to dream at different levels, but believe it's possible first. Don't say to yourself, you know, the fitness industry isn't designed to make money. Yeah, it is. And it's designed to make really good money, but you got to build the business a different way. Step two, you have to look at is you got to decide, where do you want to come in that income scale? Maybe you are happy with that $75,000, $60,000 a month, but I mean a year, and you want to be able to just say, I work at a different time level. Maybe it's not 50, 60 hours a week in order to have a 65 grand a year income. Maybe it's you're like, I can do that working 10, 15 hours a week. Where do you want to come in? What's that lifestyle look like? Maybe you're like, I want to come in at the $100,000 a year, $250,000, $500,000, million, 5 million, 10 million. I don't know how big you're dreaming. That's why step one is dream big. Dream as big as you freaking want. Step two, decide where you want to come in, because in order to get there, we have to formulate a plan. Now, with this lesson, you should have downloaded a handout. A little handout that kind of gives you a breakdown of what you could be doing out there to formulate a plan. You can't go out there and be like, I'm going to go build a business and build an income and just shoot from the hip and hope it happens. We don't believe in hope as a strategy in business. We believe in planning, formulating, going to work on it, because that's how we make it happen. That's how we can learn. That's how we can understand metrics and make things happen. So I laid out for you guys, coming off of our value ladder videos, that what are some of the steps you got to take. You got to start moving your packages to continuity and start building that monthly residual coming in versus feast and famine months that are going on. You can start looking at implementing the 30-minute business model, so that you're not limited by how many people in 60 minutes a day you can see. Instead, you can start implementing that. You can look at semi-private training and group training, so you can scale how many people you can see per half hour, per hour. That's going to largely take your business up to another level and your income up to another level. And you can start looking at adding those additional revenue streams. nutrition, online coaching, info products, masterminds, high-end coaching groups, all the things that we talked about at step 3 and step 4 of the value ladder. But once you kind of lay out that roadmap of those things and you put that stuff in place, you want to start simply looking at this handout that has it broken down to you, continuity, back end, and any bonus things that you have. Because in here, you could start literally laying out how much of each of my services, products, or programs do I want generating what kind of income every month. Let's take an example of private training. Let's just say you're like, well, private training in my 30-minute model, I want to be generating about $2,000 a month in that. Well, depending upon what you charge, maybe you charge $400 a month for your half-hour EFT program. Awesome. Maybe you're like, I want to do that and reserve that though for people that might be working with corrective exercise or injury or rehab or specialty stuff. I'm working with uber elite athletes and stuff that I really got to be, I can't mix them with other people just because we're working on such unique things to them that you're like, maybe I want to just have a part of my business that's that. And you're like, cool. You write in 400 where the dollar amount is because that's what you charge per person per month, continuity for that. And then you're like, well, if I want to make $2,000 a month in that, I need 5 members at that. So you're like, okay, my mission each month is to make sure I'm building my business so that maybe I got 3 right now. So how do I market and sell my program and myself and the results I deliver to get 2 more? So you're like, I'm at my 5. And then you're like, now I got to retain that. Or if somebody comes out, can I feed somebody else back in so I'm maintaining the number I want there? Maybe you're like, well, semi-private training. Well, maybe you charge $200 a month for your semi-private training on an EFT continuity program, and you're like, well, I want to generate $4,000 out of that. Awesome. How many members is that? You do the math. It's 20 people. So you're like, do I have marketing and sales systems to generate 20 people a month into my semi-private program, coming in via intro sessions, assessments, and feeder programs that feed into that? Great. Once I've got my 20, what am I doing to retain and keep them there so that if 1 or 2 drop off, does my machine turn on so I can get 2 people right back in so I'm not having the dips? Instead, I'm learning to build and sustain the income that I want on autopilot. Group training. Maybe you have a group training program and you're like, well, we charge $100 a month based upon space and time that I have. Well, we can sell 40 memberships before we're at max capacity and utilization. That you're like, okay, well, at 40 memberships, I'm bringing in at $100, $4,000 a month. Well, time you got your private, your semi-private, and your group, that's $10,000 a month, but you planned it and you know where it's all coming from. Then you just start thinking about, well, do I have my front-end feeder programs that feed people into my group training? They come in via like a 21-day slim down, a 5-day fat furnace, 10-day flabs to abs, whatever feeder programs or things you have. Maybe you work with athletes that are, well, athletes. And you might be thinking, well, athletes are interested in speed, so one of my feeder programs might be the 10 days to improve your 40-yard dash. Awesome. Maybe that's your front-end feeder program when you work with athletes. Maybe with injured people, you have a 2-week relieve the back pain program, and that's what they first come in on. Time you introduce them to that program, you deliver the result or relieving their back pain, you start moving them into one of these models. Maybe that person's more right for the private training program. Maybe that person's okay in the semi-private program or the group, but you usually brought them in on some front-end program that delivered the said result for why they came in. Remember when we talked about in the intros assessments, you tried to look at where their pain points and frustrations were, and then you positioned your programs to solve that stuff. That builds belief, that builds trust, that adds value, that has you differentiating yourself from everybody else out there, and then you start moving them into your continuity programs. Make sense? Cool. Then you got your back end. This is all the stuff about those additional revenue streams. Well, do you have your additional revenue streams mapped out? Where you're like, well, my nutrition. We use the example of how we use Shakeology as one of our meal replacement products. Well, we know that Shakeology is a $30 profit for every person on it. So when we map it out, we're like, well, we make $30 on that. If we have 30 members on our Shakeology program, which we used to call our fuel membership, well, we know we're bringing in $1,500 a month in additional residual income. That's a higher income than what's on the training floors when you're building from your training services, because either you're paying out trainers or you're paying out yourself, you have overhead, all that kind of stuff, different profit margins. Your nutrition tends to be high profit margins because once it's done once, it's on repeat every month. So you start thinking to yourself, well, if I got 30, I'm at 1,500. Can I then add another 10 the next month? Well, then I've added 300 more residual. So now that 1,500 is at 1,800. And you start to set your plan. Do I have feeders that bring people in, expose them to my back-end nutrition programs, and start building that? So each month, it could be 6 months down the road and you've added another 40. Well, now you're starting to look at $3,000, $4,000 a month coming in on your nutrition program. Not standing training dollars for hours anymore. That's how you can start building these dream incomes that you never thought possible. Your online coaching program, you can be funneling people into that, and they're working out without having to take up space on your floor or your time on the floor. Instead, they're in membership sites, they're in mobile app programs, and you're building that residual. You're like, awesome. That's $25 a month. And you're like, I've got 50 people on it. Well, now I'm bringing in an extra $750, $1,000 a month, whatever the math is. You can kind of just start plotting it out. That's the point. Do you have multiple ones? I've always talked about that most dangerous number in business is 1. I don't care whether it's private, semi-private, or group. It's still one style of service, training. And that's not enough to protect your business. Because any one of these dips, any one of these things changes, then what? You're just going to take that hit. But when you got nutrition, online coaching, mobile apps, coaching groups, you have info products, masterminds, all these other ways of bringing in and delivering service and transformation to people. If anything happens to one of these things, you're not as hit. I remember in 2008 when the economy took a hit and the recession started and private training took a big dip, we'd already been working on group training and semi-private training for a couple years. So we were able to transition that and be like, well, dollars that were in private, we were like, oh, before you cancel, hold on, we have our semi-private and our group training programs. So we shifted the dollars into another revenue source. Thank God we had that, otherwise we'd been screwed back at the time. But that's also when we started to bring in our Shakeology, our nutrition, our Beachbody programs and all that. So all of a sudden we started to bring in more dollars from our current members just in other revenue streams. That allows you to be intelligent about how you plan. You're going to be the CEO of your own business. You're not just going to be a trainer and a technician anymore. You're going to start understanding how to map out your future, map out your financial security and your lifestyle, because you're starting to think more strategic. Now, I don't know what your other things are or what your bonus type stuff is. Maybe you are going to kick off a coaching group for marathoners or triathletes, or have baseball camps, or all the other things that are extracurricular to your base services. That's how you want to just start planning. And maybe you're like, I'll give you an example, one of our programs is our 21-day slim down. Well, it's $97 and it's just a start and stop program, 21 days. But I use that as a feeder program from a consult. I usually move a person into that program, show them our results, show them our program. Then after that, I'm usually moving them into our group training programs, but we've also exposed them to our nutrition side. So I've already got 2 feeder systems coming in, 2 revenue streams into 1 feeder system, I should say. And I know, well, hey, our numbers, we want to make sure that we're moving 10 new 21-day slim downs a month, because I know that's about an extra $1,000 of just cash. Awesome. But we convert typically at 50-60% on those programs to continuity memberships. So if I know my programs that are $100 a month, I know after bringing in that $1,000 cash, in 21 days, we've usually moved them into a group training program at another 100, where we've added $500 more to our base continuity of our group program. That's how we're feeding people through and exposing them to multiple streams and building all our continuity, our back end, our bonus cash programs and all that. That's how I want you to start formulating and planning out how you can go build your dream income. Because as you get into the higher end stuff like masterminds and coaching groups, you might be like, I have a coaching group at $1,000 a month. And that's like, remember I told you dream big, dream possible? That's possible. Many coaches have done it. Many people in my masterminds groups have done it. It's just a different way of building your business. It's the belief system that you have that can you one day get there? You sure as hell can if you start taking that expertise that you have and learning those other ways of building your business. Because you might be like, awesome, I only need 5 people in a high-end coaching group and I have another 5,000 from that revenue stream. I've got my group training programs, etc. You kind of get in the picture how you can map that all out? That's what I want you to be thinking about when you go out there and formulate that plan. Because the last step 4 is scale and automate. This is where you start taking your knowledge and start packaging it into those online programs, feeding it into your email systems, feeding it into mobile apps, feeding it into larger group settings that might be once a month group coaching on a Facebook event or in a membership site, in a mobile platform, in Vimify. So many ways to build it. But once you could take what you're doing and scale it and automate it, this is where you start breaking into those realms of doing that $40, $50, $60, $100,000 a month, because it's no longer limited by you and the amount of people you can see and what's happening in your 5 to 10 mile radius. When you scale and automate online, you can market to the billions. And that's where you can target market niches and sub-niches and specialty programs. That's what's going to allow you to truly build that dream income. So at some point, once you've battened down the hatches of your business with your training, your additional revenue streams, your nutrition program, your online coaching, you're going to start thinking about, how do I really take my message though and start going big online? How do I start learning my outposts, my platforms, amplifying my voice, creating back ends, creating funnels and all that cool stuff? But keep your eyes out for that. We're always teaching that kind of stuff. How do you go build and take your message online and build it? Because I believe that's the frontier. That's that digital fitness frontier that is going to allow the early settlers to go out there and find gold in them hills while also creating some massive impact. So I hope this Build Your Dream Income Plan has given you some formulas and some steps that you can take to start dreaming big, deciding where you want to go, because your message is waiting to get out there in a bigger way. And right now, there are people in this world, when we look at obesity and health and sickness, that need you to get your business to the next level. So you can go out there and freaking launch it as big as you want. You can go out there and create as much impact as you want, help as many people as you want, and see your future expanding and the potential that you have so that you can step in and live what we call the Fitnesspreneur's life.